Well, ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, we've got so much still to come here tonight in this spotless arena. Coming up, we've got the Wood Chop and Chainsaw Relay, the Australian Wool Industry Showcase, Extreme Corruption, and of course the fireworks. But one of the events I know we all love to see. Right now, we're going to be crossing down to the main arena for tonight's main entertainment, the Sydney Royal Rodeo Series with Australia versus New Zealand. And presenting it tonight, will be a great pleasure in a little while to introduce Glenn Morgan.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Boys and girls, welcome to the second day and the second round of our 2015 International Rodeo Series between New Zealand and Australia. Last night, the first round of the competition came right down to our final event, which was the bull riding competition, which Australia eventually got home with a score of 19 points to 16. It was a close and thrilling match, and tonight will certainly be very, very exciting with both teams to determine the championship this year. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's welcome into the arena the cowboys and cowgirls that have travelled across the Tasman to represent their great nation. Let's welcome the Kiwi Cowboys, led out by team captain Paul Robinson. And ladies and gentlemen, the men and women of our great nation from rural and regional areas of Australia that wear the green and gold with pride, led in by team captain, it's Team Australia and Robert Bandy. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, as we get set for this thrilling round of rodeo competition, we take the time and opportunity tonight to recognise the two countries that form this competition. And first and foremost, I'd like everyone to be upstanding for a few short moments, and I'd like to welcome to the main arena from the Australian Institute of Music, Benny Falamaka, to sing the New Zealand national anthem.
E ihoa atua o ngā iwi matora a ta whakarongona me aro hanoa kia kua ko te pai kia tauto atawhai mana aki tia mai ao te aroa. God of nations, at thy feet, in the bonds of love we meet. Hear our voices, we entreat. God, defend our free land. God, Pacific's triple star, from the shafts of strife and war. Make her praises heard afar. God defend New Zealand.
And ladies and gentlemen, to sing our very own Australian national anthem, we welcome Mr. Scott Campbell.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are young and free, with golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is girt by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gift of beauty rich and rare. In history's page, let every state advance, Australia fair. In joyful strength, and let us sing, advance, Australia fair.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, tonight is a very special quest. The New Zealand Cowboys would like to perform their very own native traditional Kiwi Haka. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it has certainly set a great scene for our rodeo competition here tonight. Let's give the New Zealand boys a big round of applause for that traditional Māori Haka. Well, as our team's rodeo gets underway here tonight, we're going to start with the bareback bronc riding. We will welcome into the arena the RM Williams pickup riders, Peter and David Kelly from the Horton Valley of New South Wales. Now, in our team's rodeo competition, ladies and gentlemen, the competitors have 3 members in each team. They ride the first event, the bareback bronc riding, with a suitcase-type handhold. First cowboy out will be Joe Fentiman. This young man has drawn a horse called Shakin' All Over from the Gill Brothers Rodeo Company. New Zealand have been strong. Ladies and gentlemen, what a way to start for the Kiwis. On top and on a roll. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that young man is from Outram. He had a qualifying score last night of 71 points. He was our 2011 New Zealand champion. Let's welcome him to the Sydney Royal Easter Show, Joe Fentiman. Well, as the officials here at this competition, Mark Palmer and Jeff Edwards score the rider out of 1 to 25 points. Further 1 to 25 points is allocated to the horse's performance. Add the 2 scores of 50 for a grand total of 100 points. And tonight, Joe Fentiman comes in with a qualifying score of 72 points. 72. Now the situation unfolds. It is up to Australia now. The opposing team member is Wade Clifford. Wade is from Halali. He scored the highest score in the bareback riding last night of 77 points. Cat Baloo is the name of the livestock, the horse that he's on, and he must score more than 72 points to pick up a qualified win for Team Australia. Folks, you're going to need a little crowd support. We're going to need a little bit of home team favouritism as he gets set to go. Our number 1 ranked bareback rider, Wade Clifford from Manali, New South Wales. Ladies and gentlemen, the excitement-packed bareback riding brought to you here tonight by Wade Clifford. Now as our pickup riders move in, Wade has got to maintain the upper balance. Well, as the pickup riders work extremely hard here this weekend. Wade in a little spot of bother. Man, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for him. Not the dismount he was looking for here tonight. Wade Clifford. Well, the numbers come through. The judges have qualified score on the board. Well, it's once again, it's a 72-point score, 72. Now, let's go to the big screen. Watch the spurring action of Wade Clifford, folks. This horse gets a lot of elevation, gets him a little tipped into his hand momentarily, but makes a strong recovery and finishes off the ride with that long spurring action. Well, judges can't split the two riders. They've come up with another 72-point score. So in that actual matchup, 2 points will be awarded to both team members. This is how close the series was last night. 72 points for both of our first opposing team players. We go back down to the New Zealand cowboy, this time from Rodeo in the South Island, Adam Williams. Now, this young man is a motor mechanic by trade back in New Zealand. They come from all walks of life, from various occupations. It's his first time at the Sydney Royal Easter Show. New Zealand well and truly represented in the bareback riding here this year. Making a good corner, gets around, a lot of power in that riding arm. Man, boy, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the boy from Rodeo. That was Adam Williams. Well, they have come with a very, very young and enthusiastic team this year. They have certainly proved that their worthiness will take it right to the Australians to the finish of this 6-round series. 68 points from our officials. 68 it was on that occasion. The official score, 68. Well, as our next competitor gets ready to do battle, this is Blake Pine. He's a Western Australian bareback riding champion. He was 75 points in the opening round last night. Hey, look at this cowboy. The Western Australian champion lays back full throttle. And ladies and gentlemen, this is why he was selected for Team Australia. Blake Pine from Western Australia and a horse called the Harlem Shuffle. Well, ladies and gentlemen, he is on the ground. I can assure you he will appreciate your round of applause for his efforts here tonight. That is Blake Pine, Western Australia. Well, the numbers have come through for Team Australia. Ladies and gentlemen, he travelled across the Nullarbor to be here this weekend and represent our country. 74 points, a new high score in the competition. Blake Pine, 74. Well, that'll be a 2-point win in the matchup for bareback riding Team Australia. 1 point to Adam Williams from New Zealand. Well, our next competitor was the Rookie of the Year in 2014. He's from Darfield in the South Island of New Zealand, James Pinfold. James qualified in the opening round of the competition last night with a score of 68 points. The horse that he's drawn tonight is a horse called Satisfaction. These horses are bred by the Gill Brothers Rodeo Company of the Horton Valley in New South Wales. He'd be looking for a high score of 74 points or better. Man, look at this. Oh my God, ladies and gentlemen, you talk about an elimination round. He has been knocked a little short. Ladies and gentlemen, he is not in the best of physical states at this point of time. We may need our paramedics to check him out, and boy, it really, watch this on the replay, ladies and gentlemen. It rocked him back off his riding hand, got him down into it, and just launched him onto the ground at all-in-one action. That is a big hit for the New Zealand Cowboys. It'll be a no score in the competition. And what about the horse, James Pinfold, on Satisfaction from the Gill Brothers Rodeo Company? And last night, we welcomed the Gill Brothers here for the first time at the Sydney Royal Easter Show with their livestock and bucking horses, and they have been absolutely sensational. This is what it's about. Rodeo competition is a test and a challenge between the toughest and roughest men in the Australian outback. The sport of rodeo started the last part of the 18th century, where stockmen would challenge one another to a riding competition. to see who could ride the outlaw horses in the stock camp. The winner to be determined who could get to that 8-second whistle. Great work from our pickup riders, the Kelly boys, David and Peter Kelly. Well, the door's wide open. There's a sneak opportunity for Team Australia to pick up 2 very valuable points. Jared Oversby, another one of our Western Australian champions. Jared was the national champion of Australia in 2012. And this is horse that he's drawn. This is the young gun from another one of the Western Australian champions, Jared Oversby. Ladies and gentlemen, pay a little recognition to the Western Australian champion. Well, they have been in great form, and once again, Jared Oversby has really made the Western Australian team strong. Ladies and gentlemen, there's only one name to recognise his efforts. Let's hear for Team Australia and Jared Oversby. Well, the numbers come through once again. It's a 74-point ride for young Jared, 74. That is going to put him in a great position here in the bareback bronc riding competition. 74 points. We get to watch it on the big screen as we go through that motion. Just while we got him for a few moments, Jared, it's great stock down here at the Sydney Royal Easter Show this year. The bareback horses, haven't they been strong?
Yeah, they've been really good. Credit to the girls.
Blake, just very quickly, both you and Blake Pine from Western Australia, what is it about you guys from over in the Western States who are really tough in the bareback riding? You've won a national championship, and I guess it's you and Blake that are really steering the ship in the bareback riding here this week. Yeah, I'm all good. I'm too old to get hurt.
Yeah, well, you know, we just egg each other on and have a laugh every day.
Have a laugh every day, folks. He's got a smile on his face. He and his travelling partner from WA both win the competition, 74 points, Blake Pine and Jared Oversby. Well, as we go to our next event in the competition round here tonight, it's going to be our big men of rodeo, the steer wrestling competition, with a scoreboard at this stage, New Zealand 3, Australia 6. Well, as we get set to go with our next competitors in the competition, it is going to be the steer wrestling competition. Now, in this event, 2 competitors compete at the one time. They ride under a light system. There'll be a red, amber, and green lights. When you see the green light on, that's when both steers will be released at the one time. Now, first man out is Australian all-round champion from Goulburn, Joel Mansell. Joel has won the national championship gold buckle for his achievements in the sport of rodeo competition. Last night he qualified with a time of 10.09 seconds. And representing New Zealand is Henry Nichols. He was 8.1 in the opening round. New Zealand needs some valuable points. Australia's down. Look across New Zealand's catch, and it's a 2 points to New Zealand. Henry Nichols comes up with a 2-point run. It'll be 1 point to Australia's Joel Mansell. Well, you can see in this event, competitors prefer to ride the Australian quarter horses. You'll notice in this particular sport, the horses have a very heavily muscled appearance. They've got a long, defined, sloping shoulder. And hence their name is the Australian quarter horse. The reason is they are the fastest horse over 250 metres. Sprint quarter horse racing was very, very popular back in the 70s and 80s. They reach maximum speed in the shortest possible time. They're agile, versatile, and they live for the thrill of that sprint racing competition. Well, as we get set to go with our next matchup in the steer wrestling competition here tonight, riding into our time event barriers, representing Team Australia from Walgett, right out in the western reaches where it has not rained here in Australia for nearly 3 years. It'll be Glenn Chafe. Glenn is a second-generation champion. He was a 2013 National Steer Wrestling Champion of Australia. And New Zealand is represented by the Waikeia cowboy from the South Island, Greg Lamb. Okay, Greg reaches into that position, Team Australia. Oh, no, the Kiwi's gone down with a no score. Hey, Australia looks good for 2 points. It's going to be 2 points to Team Australia and Glenn Chafe. No points to Team New Zealand. That is a valuable loss for them in that round of the competition. You can see you must catch and qualify to pick up 1 point for your team. A win in the matchup picks up 2, and at this point of time, New Zealand are 5, and of course, Team Australia riding on 9 points. Following this competition, we go back to the bucking chutes for saddle bronc riding. We've got the thrilling ladies barrel racing, and we wrap it up here tonight with that bull riding competition. Well, as our competitors swap horses and get ready to go for the matchup, Team Australia is represented by their national #1 champion for 2014, Jock Bone Langdon. Makes his home at Singleton in the Hunter Valley of New South Wales. He's very versatile. He won the Rookie of the Year in 2013. Following season, he was the national #1 man of Australia. And representing New Zealand, from Rolleston in the South Island, the big boy, this is Chris Hood. What's the big man? The Kiwi Cowboy. He's a human monster. Shapes him up, Chris Hood. But it's going to be on that occasion, and it's going to be 2 points to our national champion. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for him, Jock Bone Langdon. Here's a 2-point win to Jock. No points to Team New Zealand in the steer wrestling competition. The Australian boys have really dominated that round of the steer wrestling competition. Well, scoreboards. Let's look to the big international scoreboards at this point of time, ladies and gentlemen. It is New Zealand 5, Team Australia 11. Let's hear for the Aussies, the green and gold boys. Well, they've come here. Last night was a very, very close competition. Australian Cowboys needed to get off to a flying start, and through the courtesy of the bareback riders and the steer wrestlers, things have unfolded in a nice way at this particular point of time. Well, as we get set to go with the saddle bronc riding competition, this is where our sport of Australian rodeo evolved, right back at the turn of the 19th century. And now, to this day, the international saddle bronc riding is one of the premier events in our rodeo calendar. In this event, the competitors ride for 8 seconds. Rules are that the competitor must not lose a stirrup. They are not permitted to touch down with their free hand throughout the 8-second ride. And of course, the most important rule of all is not to be bucked off or unseated out of that saddle in the 8-second period. Now, the first competitor out will be Roman Niho. He's from Kaitai on the North Island of New Zealand. He was our 2014 New Zealand saddle bronc riding champion. The horse that he's drawn tonight from the Gill Brothers Rodeo Company, a horse that they bred on their property in the Horton Valley called Moves Like Jagger. Now, Roman was a 67-point ride in the first round. He looks to build on it here tonight. It's big, it's strong, it's bold, and it's a little too powerful. Ladies and gentlemen, what about a round of applause for the Gill Brothers Rodeo Company? Boy, they have supplied Australia's toughest horses for this spectacular, and they need to be credited for their well-being in the sport of rodeo competition. But unfortunately, Roman Niho felt the full force. Let's watch this on the big screen, ladies and gentlemen. Appeared this little horse, took a little time to get set, but you'll notice that Roman just never got back in his saddle. He tended to pull on his rein a little. He got launched out the front end, and we call that out through the dashboard. Look at the extension of that magnificent bucking horse, and really was too much for the New Zealand current champion. Well, ladies and gentlemen, our attention's about to focus on the team captain of Australia. The man that leads the green and gold, originally from Barellan in southern New South Wales, now based on the Warra Creek station. This is Robert Bandy, team captain Australia. Ladies and gentlemen, watch for the style of the ride, the 8 seconds coordination. Well, he leads by example. He sets a high standard of competition. And I tell you what, he expects each and every one of his team members to follow suit. Ladies and gentlemen, his team captain once again from the Warra Creek station in northern New South Wales, Robert Bandy. $75 points it was for Robert, 75 points. So that's once again a 2-point win. Robert Bandy, 75 points, a match-up win, as the opposing New Zealand rider was thrown off with a no score. Well, it's going to be up to New Zealand. Man that's been twice the New Zealand saddle bronc riding champion. From Dunback in the South Island, he's twice been the New Zealand saddle bronc riding champion, Paul Robinson. Now, the horse that he's drawn is Victoria's Secret. A little bay mare that really gets to jumping and kicking. He's going to try to make a picture-perfect spur ride throughout that 8-second period. Paul Robinson, Victoria's Secret. Going to need to maintain some good balance throughout that 8-second ride. Things starting to unfold a little as he comes back around that corner. Paul Robinson makes it 8-second whistle. He has represented Team New Zealand no less than 5 occasions at the Sydney Royal Easter Show. And each of those occasions have certainly excelled in that chosen sport of saddle bronc riding for Paul Robinson. Score of 68 points. It was 68 points for Paul. 68 points in that round of the competition. Qualified and very respectable score on the board of 68 points. Well, as we draw our attention down to the next competitor in Australian saddle bronc riding, he is the current 2014 Australian saddle bronc riding champion. This is Luke Morgan from Atunga, just north of Tamworth. Horsebreaker by train. He was highest score in the individual competition here last night, a 77-point score. And the horse that he's drawn tonight, a horse called the Little Sister. Now the perseverance to get down in that saddle, get a good strong start for that 8-second period. It's an important part of the event. Chasing a more 68-point ride. Here's our Australian champion, ladies and gentlemen, Luke Morgan, getting it on for that 8-second period. Oh, let's hear it for him, Sydney. He's out and he's made it. Well, he hit a little hard, unfortunately. Did hit a little hard on that dismount. We will just check with the pickup riders and the judges. Well, ladies and gentlemen, he's a little groggy, a little slow to his feet. I tell you what, a round of applause might help him at this point of time. Let's hear it for him, Sydney, our Australian champion, Luke Morgan. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this may help him get his bearings a little better. How does a score of 81 championship points go to Team Australia? 81 points. Well, it's going to be a 2-point win once again in the matchup. 2 points once again in the round of the competition as we get set to go in the saddle bronc riding competition with a cowboy from Hawke's Bay, New Zealand, Graham Gannon. Graham's 25 years of age. He is a property manager in that part of the world. Twin Towers, the name of the horse that he will endeavour to take on here in the competition round. Deep down in that saddle, New Zealand need a fight back and they need to start pretty quickly. Well, a little hesitant. Let's see. Well, Twin Towers, slow to start but big to finish. Well, he's off and at him, ladies and gentlemen. The Kiwi cowboy. Oh, no, no, no. Man, oh, man, oh, man, ladies and gentlemen. You've got to pay a little tribute to the Kiwi cowboy. What an effort here tonight in the saddle bronc riding competition. Well, this will look interesting on the big screen. Horse was a little hesitant. Now, watch this on the big screen, folks. Can sometimes put you off a little. Now, in bronc riding terms, you'll see that his elbow's out a little. He tends to pull on his rein. He gets launched out through that front end. And, boy, that's what we come to the Sydney Royal Easter Show, and we come to expect the best riders in Australia versus the best in New Zealand. And, of course, it is a no score in the competition here tonight for New Zealand Cowboy. Well, it's Australia at this point of time on top in the saddle bronc riding competition. They are giving a lesson to the New Zealand saddle bronc riders. And this next man is currently number 2 in Australia. He was the runner-up reserve champion in 2014. Chris Williams is a livestock agent. He works with Landmark, a livestock company in Armidale in the New England region of New South Wales. He's one of Australia's finest young auctioneers. He's worked at many of the big livestock sales throughout the eastern states of Australia. And Chris Williams takes on a horse called Shotgun. Well, is it going to be a clean sweep in the saddle bronc riding competition? Horse just a little hesitant. Let's see what Chris can get done here tonight in the round of competition. He's a big, strong horse and a great cowboy. Australian saddle bronc rider's doing it tough. He's doing it good, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, Chris Williams from Armidale. Ladies and gentlemen, what a series of bronc riding. We've not ever seen any better.
Just put your rope down for a minute. I'll get you out here again.
Well, we'll just wait and check from the judges and the scores here tonight. Man, that guy had to ride at his very, very best here to get it done for the 8-second period. We'll check from our officials. 70 points, 70 points. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was one round of bronc riding, and I've been a part of the Sydney Royal Easter Show here, I guess, well, I've been at every round here at the Sydney Royal Easter Show at the new ground, some 15, 16 years. Don't believe I've ever seen a better round of saddle broncs. And with me here in the main arena, ladies and gentlemen, is a man that has bred these horses with his family and his brother Malcolm and his lovely wife Karen, Eddie Gill from the Gill Brothers Rodeo Company. Haven't we seen a new evolution in the rodeo stock this last 10 years, Eddie? And it's people like yourself and professional contractors that breed stock for rodeo purpose.
Yeah, it's really moved to the next level of professional rodeo, and as you see here tonight, all nice slick horses, all performing well and putting it right to the cowboys, which is like what you want to see.
It certainly is, Eddie. Well, I can only congratulate you and your great family. Have done an amazing job this year. Welcome to the Sydney Royal Easter Show, and we hope to see you here for many, many years. Ladies and gentlemen, the man from behind the scenes, that's Eddie Gill from the Gill Brothers Rodeo Company, do a magnificent job. And you wait till you see the bulls that they've got hand-selected for our competition here tonight. Well, ladies and gentlemen, at this point of time, New Zealand's in a great position. They are only on 6 points, Australia 17. Let's get set to go with the ladies' dual barrel racing competition. Representing Australia is our current champion, Bianca Hurdle, and representing New Zealand, Brianna Lemond, riding Cowboy Rock. Well, it's going to be a competition where the two girls ride from behind the green lights. They're off and running. Okay, it's going to be New Zealand out good. They turn as one. They get around that first corner. Up and around in the second. New Zealand maybe just ahead, but Australia's cut the corner. Bianca Hurdle's got a race on her hands. Come on, folks, let's cheer them home. It looks like it's going to be a race to the finish line. Well, it's going to be 2 points to New Zealand. Brianna Lemond, 2 points to Team New Zealand. 1 point to our current champion. That was Bianca Hurdle. Well, you can see how close this event really is in the sport of rodeo competition. Well, as we get set to go with the next matchup, the Australian Rookie of the Year. This is lovely Hayley Hill, a young girl that grew up in Camden, the western suburbs of Sydney, and Marie Oddie, New Zealand cowgirl, I should say. Well, Marie's got a barrel down. That's going to be a 5-second penalty. Marie's got him around. Hey, Australia's coming back, folks. She's taking the corner a little quicker. Let's cheer on. Hayley Hill, one more turn. Team New Zealand and Australia. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the barrel down for New Zealand. It is 2 points to Hayley Hill, Australia. 1 point to New Zealand. Well, what a competition this barrel racing is. Well, Team Australia has got their current Australian champion. This time it's going to be Nicole Fitzpatrick. From Willow Tree in the Hunter Valley of New South Wales versus Liz McKinley. Now, Nicole had a time yesterday of 18.6. They're off and running, both girls out together. They turn as one. Nothing separates the girls at this point of time. Maybe New Zealand a little ahead, but Nicole Fitzpatrick, our current champion, she cut the corner. The little black horse, they turn as one. It's Team Australia, and she's home. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'll check from our head judge. It is now official. 2 points, Australia, Nicole Fitzpatrick. 1 point in the ladies' barrel racing to Liz McKinley. Well, what a night of nights we've got set up here, coming up with our next event in the competition. This is where we turn the tempo up a little. This is where it becomes very, very exciting. It is what we call the sport of bull riding. And I can assure you, this is not an event for the faint-hearted. In this particular competition, the cowboys get to ride the bovines for a period of 8 seconds. In this competition, our judges will once again score both rider and livestock. 1 to 25 points for the bull's performance, but a further 1 to 25 points for the cowboys' riding style and coordination. It's amazing how tough it gets down here in the middle of the arena. But ladies and gentlemen, before we do get underway with the bull riding competition, there are 2 men I would like to introduce to the main arena. My good friends, the Protection Clowns, Lincoln Brown and Warren Norton. Give them a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Well, we're back at it, round number 2. Lincoln, only 1 score last night. And how did you rate the bulls we saw in that opening round?
Yeah, Morgs, you know, like we travel all over Australia, you know, bullfighting and watching bulls all over the place. And, you know, Sydney, you're pretty lucky because this is the best you'll see anywhere, mate. Them bulls bucked as good as any bulls you'll ever see.
Well, Fraser Babington, he top scored. He was the only qualified ride last night. He New Zealand champion. He's a PBR bull riding champion in Australia. And his class really shone through on them great bulls from the Gill brothers.
Yeah, mate, it did. You know, Fraser, I've seen him a lot, and he's a tough cowboy, and there's only one thing on his mind, and that's to get to the 8-second buzzer and to ride his bulls.
And I'll just catch up with your good friend here also, Warren Norton. Warren, how many years have you been at the Sydney Royal Easter Show performing this part of the show as a protection clown?
It's been about 14, 15 years, Glenn. You know, it's a great opportunity to come here to the Sydney Royal, and it's a bit like any profession, you know. We take great pride in what we do, and it's always a privilege to be here.
And what is it about this job as a protection bullfighting clown that you keep turning up and you keep facing up to the elements, the unexpected excitement that comes with the sport of bull riding?
I suppose it's a bit like anything, Glenn. When you grow up, you always look up to someone, and it's always a sport, you know, I've always loved and I've always cherished so much, and it's just a great thrill and a great honour to do what I do.
Well, I tell you what, I admire what you do. I certainly couldn't. Ladies and gentlemen, these are the 2 unsung heroes in our sport here tonight. I'd like you to give them a big warm welcome to the Sydney Royal Easter Show. Lincoln Brown and Warren Norton, 2 of Australia's best, and they will perform their duties here in the bull riding competition very, very shortly. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is our final event on the program here tonight. Are you ready for some bull riding? Well, that's a pretty subdued crowd for a Friday night in the biggest city in the world, particularly here in Australia. Ladies and gentlemen, I thought Sydney was pretty rowdy. When we come to Sydney, we come here for a ton of fun and we make a lot of noise. I'll ask you one more time. Are you ready for bull riding? Well, we spoke a few moments ago about the guy that was the highest score in the competition last night. From Gisborne, New Zealand, this is Fraser Babington. Now, the bull that he's drawn is Red Foo. Now, we've seen Red Foo, of course, on all the television stations around Australia. Now we get to see Red Foo at the Sydney Royal Easter Show. He's wild, he's unorthodox, and he's got absolutely no pattern whatsoever. He's colourful, and I tell you what, he brings some altitude to the sport of bull riding competition. Tonight, Fraser Babington needs to get the New Zealand team back on track with an 8-second qualified ride. This is their final event, their final chance of success in round number 2 of our competition. Get with him. Remember, the louder you clap, the harder you cheer, the bigger chance of a high score and a great ride. Eyes are glued, cowboys are set. This is going to be the testing moment for the New Zealand Kiwis. Fraser Babington, one of their most experienced competitors in the bovine twisting Brahman bull riding competition. Get ready. It's about to explode. It's New Zealand's first man out. Our protection clowns, Warren Norton and Lincoln Brown. Watch and wait with anticipation. Keep your eyes glued on those guys. They act as our decoys. It's bull riding time. Fraser Babington out and around. Red Foo in a spin around to the left. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a little disappointing for the New Zealand champion. First up, first out, and failing to qualify. Well, as we've just got to get this bull out of the chutes, we've just got to try and get him back to the unsaddling enclosure before we get underway with our next competitor in the competition here tonight. You can understand the safety aspect of bull riding is at the highest level. We try to reduce the injury risks as much as we possibly can. And of course, it's an important factor that comes with the sport of rodeo competition. I'd also like to take this opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, to welcome a very special friend and a young compadre that's with us here tonight, Jordan Lane Robb. And Jordan, it's great to see you at the Sydney Royal Easter Show. Young Jordan Lane Robb down here, folks. He had a serious bull riding accident last year, but as you can understand, these young bull riders of Australia are very, very passionate. And Jordan Lane came into the main arena, of course, assisted by family and in a chair that he has been with for the last 12 months. But we wish him well in his recovery, and we look forward to seeing him once again back on our rodeo circuit. So great to have you here at the Sydney Royal Easter Show, Jordan, and certainly supporting Team Australia, a young man that was certainly sustained some pretty serious injuries in our sport of bull riding in the last couple of seasons. Well, our pickup riders are working overtime here tonight, just trying to get the attention. I said Red Foo had some attitude, and he certainly has lived up to those expectations thus far here tonight. We're just trying to get him some coaches to say, come on back, we're heading back to the Lucerne farm. Well, we're good. We got them set. We're ready to go. Well, ladies and gentlemen, draw your attention once again back to Team Australia. This is something I've waited all day from. When I saw the draws this morning in our rodeo office, I knew this would be a great matchup. He's the Australian bull riding champion of 2012. He was the 2013 Canadian bull riding champion, Carl Green. They call him the Green Machine. From Walker in northern New South Wales. And here's Chuckles from the Gill Brothers Rodeo Company. It's Chuckles time. He's out and around. Look at this boy from Australia, the #1 gun. He's down. Well, it's the protection clowns that do the job to distract the bull. Get him out, and it's a little disappointing. Chuckles comes up with another victim here tonight in the bull riding competition. It is once again 2 for 2 in that bull riding challenge. Well, the Team Australian boys at this point. Let's watch the big screen, ladies and gentlemen. Carl looked to be good. Now, notice this bull bucks away from his hand, and after about 3 spins around to the right, he just got him off the point of balance. Could not make a recovery from the situation. His body got to the outside of the spin. His free arm dropped a little low, and of course, that has been a costly part of the factor. He just got that free arm down a little low, of course, cost him a competition ride in the bull riding division. Well, just having a few moments to take the concentration, try and get these bulls distracted back to this catch pen gate. It's an important part of our competition, ladies and gentlemen, just for these bulls to get the bearings, and we do not want to have more than one bull in the arena at any one single time. Let's hope that we can get the distraction and, of course, get them back in here very, very quickly. I think they're getting ready to go home. They've seen their lap. They've done their victory lap at this point. You can understand this only the second night of our bull riding competition. Sometimes it just takes a little more time than we had anticipated to get their bearings. We're just going to get a couple of their good friends and travelling partners to say, hey, listen, boys, this is the way back on out of here. We're going to follow me if you want to get out and back to that big loosened barn they've got out in the back of our rodeo shoots here this weekend. Hey, what about a round of applause for our pickup riders, ladies and gentlemen, the Kelly boys from the Horton Valley of New South Wales, as we get set to go bull riding with Team New Zealand. Well, it looks like we're going to get set to go with a young man called Ernie Rika. Well, I'll tell you a little story about Ernie. This young man arrived at the New Zealand airport yesterday. Unfortunately, he was denied access to leave the airport. His passport had been damaged in some of the torrential rain that they had received there in the previous weeks. He had to stay an extra day in New Zealand, have another application for his passport, and he only arrived into Sydney at 4 o'clock this afternoon. So this young man's already had a tough start to the Sydney Royal Easter Show. He missed round number 1 of the competition with a passport technicality. He got that rectified back in Christchurch yesterday, and now he's made it back to the Sydney Royal Easter Show. Ernie Rika. And the bull that he's drawn, this is a real colourful little bull called the Freaky Force. You look at the lots of dots, it's colourful time for Ernie. Well, it all happened a little too quick for the young man. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a tough 24 hours. Let's put our hands together for the young man, Ernie Rika. Well, we're going to come back to the Team Australia. Team member, next man to hit the ground. You can see this young cowboy on the big screen. Just got one jumped. He did not get into a position of a return ride. Well, it looks like we're going to come down to the next contestant from Team Australia, getting ready to make that adjustment. The competitors here this weekend, right in the protective bull riding vests and helmets. The cowboy we're going to see for Team Australia, ladies and gentlemen, is all the way from Collinsville in far north Queensland. And as this is a Teams International Australian team, he is the current 2014 North Queensland bull riding champion. They accumulate points and prize money from their rodeo series from Nebo, Rockhampton, Mackay, Mareeba, right out to the Mareeba rodeo competition. His name is Jake Plate. Likeable young man, quiet achiever, first time representing Team Australia in the bull riding category as he qualified to the North Queensland Championship. Jake Plate, Team Queensland. Well, ladies and gentlemen, what about the determination and efforts of that young man? Well, what a competition of bull riding. That was Jake Plate, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen. Cool Bananas. He's not so cool out there with our camera team. Boy, he is not happy. Hey, looky, looky. We'll see how fast our crew can run here in a minute. You might get a little different entertainment than we had anticipated should Cool Bananas escape the perimeter fence. Wouldn't that be fun, ladies and gentlemen? Something a little different, a little added extra. He doesn't like our pickup riders too much either. Cool Bananas. Well, at this point of time, we're still waiting to see our first 8-second ride in the bull riding competition. Well, Cool Bananas is just not too cool at this point of time. He figures he'd like to get a cameraman. I'm sure he would. Do you think we'd like to see him get a cameraman, ladies and gentlemen? Yeah, wouldn't that make for a great Sydney Royal Easter Show? Something special to talk about when you got home tonight. You should have seen Cool Bananas in that main arena. He was cool. Well, once again, I've got to recognise the work of our pickup riders doing a great job here this weekend. Peter and David Kelly, we can't thank them enough for the work. They're second-generation horsemen. Their dad, Bill Kelly, worked at the old Paddington Showground through the 60s and 70s. Their boys first started in the sport back in the 90s, and they've been here every single year at the new showground at Homebush, and we thank them because they are two of the icons of the bush in the outback parts of Australia. Okay, let's get set to go with the third and final member of Team New Zealand. From Rotorua, 2 times New Zealand bull riding champion. From the North Island, this is Johnson Davis. Well, we've all heard of a little bit of moonshine. The name of this particular bull. It's Moonshine in the Mornings for Johnson Davis. He's looking to be the first 8-second bull riding competitor to make that 8-second whistle. He's out and around, the bull rider from New Zealand. He's their national champion. Is he going to make it, ladies and gentlemen? You make your own decision. Man, talk about a little moonshine. Man, oh man, Johnson Davis. He got around that. It's going to be interesting to see what the judges say. I do believe from where I stand, he will make an 8-second qualifying ride. Well, the numbers have come through, ladies and gentlemen. A score of 76 points. Let's have a big round of applause for the New Zealand bull riding champion, Johnson Davis. Twice the New Zealand bull riding champion. He's the first man to get an 8-second bull riding score on the board in our second round of the competition. Well, we'll just get down and get set to go with the final of our Australian team members. Scoreboard at this stage, New Zealand 10, Australia in a very commanding position on our second day of competition on 22 points in total. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's get set to go with our next competitor in the bull riding competition. He's the 2014 Australian bull riding champion. He's from Gin Gin in Western Australia. This is Wade McCarthy. Well, this guy has done it all. 2014, he was the Western Australian bull riding champion. He came to our Grand National finals in Tamworth back in January. He won the championship of the nation. Wade McCarthy from Western Australia. Oh no, he's gone down a little early, ladies and gentlemen. He is not going to receive a score for his efforts in tonight's round of the bull riding competition. Well, what a series of bull riding. We had one qualified 8-second ride in tonight's round of the competition, and that was to Johnson Davis, the New Zealand bull riding champion. What a night of international bull riding series here in the main arena, and it was a full test of character for all of our competitors, and they felt the full force of the Gill Brothers livestock here this weekend. Well, folks, we've still got another 4 rounds of this particular series to go in the main arena. Then, after 6 rounds of our international series, we have 2 nights of the All-Stars Championship Series, where the world's best riders compete here over 2 nights of competition. And then the final 6 days over the Easter long weekend, we have got the inaugural State of Origin Rodeo Series once again between New South Wales and Queensland. Well, ladies and gentlemen, on night number 2 of the Sydney Royal Easter Show International Rodeo Series, it gives me great pleasure to announce the winners of the competition. Ladies and gentlemen, New Zealand finaled with 12 points, but it was the green and gold, the pride and spirit of regional Australia, the Australian Cowboys, 22 points as they win the second round of our international series. And of course, the team captain of Australia, Robert Bandy, leads the green and gold machine out. Congratulated here tonight on their very, very solid victory in the International Rodeo Series. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we hope that you did enjoy tonight's competition. It's been an absolute pleasure to be a part of this series, and we look forward to round number 3 once again tomorrow night at 6:30. Till then, ladies and gentlemen, I hand you back to main ring control, of course, Angus Lane and Tim Drivelman. Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much, Glenn Morgan. What a great win there by New South Wales, Australia. 22 points to 12. Well, we've got plenty of action still to come here in the spotless main arena. Stick around with us because the rodeo is just the prelude for all the entertainment as we go through the wood chopping Australian Wool Industry Showcase and, of course, extreme corruption, rounding out with the fireworks. All still to come here in the spotless main arena.